All right. Welcome back. It is Tuesday, May 28th. We have just this week left in the month, and so we'll do what we always do, and that is zoom out to the monthly chart. And on the monthly chart, we can see that the market is in a balance. We right now are trading just a little bit above the previous month's high, which was 53.17 quarter. We're trading 53.28 half. But for the most part, the market remains in a balance. As this week turns on or churns on, we are going to be watching that 17 level as a very key level should the market find acceptance back inside the previous week's range. The previous high also 53.22, so 53.2275 to 53.17 quarter is going to be a key level the market's going to want to finish above if it's going to show us a sign of strength here on the monthly. Now switching over to the weekly, we can see that the weekly is technically one time framing higher. As we can see, 1, 2, 3, this made a new high, not a new low. So the one time framing higher is still intact, consistently moving higher and up, I guess, for the most part, right? We put an all-time high. The key thing that we want to take away from, and this is the holiday session, so kind of ignore it. But the range on the last week's range was actually fairly narrow, so it does make the susceptibility of, or the possibility of cessation of one-time framing a little bit higher this week. Now, we do have a shorter week, so then that kind of decreases the odds, so we'll really have to see how it plays out. But the key thing is the weekly is starting to look like balance, right? Traded above the previous week's high, traded back inside the previous week's range, and closed inside there. So we really want to be watching 53.58 quarter, and then also the high from the previous week, 53.49. Are we going to be able to get above there and find some acceptance? And that's what's going to be able to lead the market higher. Should we fail to stay above that? And honestly, should we fail to stay above the 53.27, which is that previous week's +4 close, the market does start to get a little bit weak, and then we start targeting the previous week's low, which is down here around that 52.75 area. Switching over to the daily, you can see the daily remains in a larger balance. Go ahead and box it in for you guys here, right? We're in a pretty decent balance here, called the wick excess. But for the most part, a pretty big balance. Now I'm kind of ignoring this front half of balance and just using this day here as our balance range, and really going to be playing off the key levels from that. We'll get some more key levels off of the profile in a second. And you can see these two moving averages, as much as you might hate moving averages, they are basically just used as percentages, right? For big money market makers, 5%. 9%, right? And so we definitely want to be paying attention to these levels today. And that's going to be the 53.25 and 53.22. They're already key levels for us, so we don't really, no real change, but we just know if we get below them, we can get a little bit more confident with our short. And then we want to be long if we stay above them, right? Like I said, right now we're trading 28, so we're trading just a couple points above them. So just stay aware of where they're at. Now, switching over to the profiles, we can kind of see where this larger day is sitting at. And you can see all the single prints, they got filled, market bounced up. And so today is going to be kind of one of those cautious days, or one of the days where you're going to really have to pay attention. And what we're looking for is acceptance over this Globex point of control. Acceptance over the Globex point of control puts us up towards that high and kind of in a buy zone, I think, above that 36.38. We look to get long and trade that up to our 48.44 area, which has been a very particular area, been a troublesome area for a lot of the market. And then we've got this excess up here on the high. And so we'll be reevaluating, but really be kind of looking to see what happens above this 44 and if the market can trade higher. Below the Globex point of control kind of gets a little bit choppy. There may be a decent long setup off of the settle, especially if they move lower and can't break the Globex low. That gives us an opportunity to fade weak shorts. And that fade really is just back towards that cop point of control, or back towards that prior day high, that 29.33. So a shorter fade there, looking for about like 6 to 10 points below the overnight point of control and below the prior month's high. The market starts to look weak, and I think we get some decent opportunity to fade it. That first weak spot was down there, 53.05. We'll look to trade that a little bit lower and then into the previous day's excess, which is about 52.29 to 52.94, which has been a very key area for us in the past as well. But that is it. It's Monday, or it's actually Tuesday, but it's like Monday. So make sure you stay aware, stay safe. Remember, you don't have to make the whole bag in one day. And even though it is a short week, it might be a long week. Got some decent news, so just stay vigilant. Make sure you're managing risk and sticking to your trade plan, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.